Hey everybody, I'm Karin Pindle from Sojourn. We're going to get started with our monthly, or not more monthly, quarterly map comparison webinar, marketing automation platform, or MAP as we call it. So let's get rolling. If you have any questions anytime, please enter them in the Zoom Q&A. If you're watching this recording, obviously you can't do that, so feel free to just shoot me an email. You will have been sent this recording if you registered for it. So here we go. All right, first we're going to talk about a lake. Just kidding. That's not what you came here for. All right, let's get rolling. So just a reminder, the 4 maps that we're going to talk about are HubSpot's Marketing Hub, not anything else with HubSpot, but their Marketing Hub, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and we'll call out Pardot as well, where that is applied and how they've renamed Pardot as well, Oracle Eloqua, and Adobe Marketo. And I do this quarterly. The next one will be in October. I update the content at least monthly. I make a point the week of the webinar to go through every slide, every detail, and update it. And there actually were like 5 different updates for this month. So just so you know, this is hot off the press every time it's presented. A little bit about me. So I live in Tennessee. I'm from upstate New York. Actually from north of where that lake is in New York. That's the Shokan Reservoir in I think it's in Olive Ridge, New York, which is about 2 hours north of New York City. Very different feel in the city, as you can see. And that's my, those are my 2 dogs. They're swimming in the water as they love to swim just about everywhere. And I do all this hard work to be outside with them a whole bunch. And with my partner there, Amy, we're about to get married this October, actually, about a few miles from where that lake is in upstate New York. So we're excited. Teeny tiny little wedding. Anyway, so my background as it applies to what we're talking about today, marketing automation platforms. I've been a marketer for 17 years. I still help today with Sojourn's marketing efforts and supporting our head of marketing in doing so. And the entire 17 years have either directly been responsible for being an administrator of a marketing automation platform or helping customers take care of their marketing automation platforms, get the best value from them, the best marketing performance and results as possible without pulling their hair out as much as possible. So I've worked with over 100 companies myself, leading projects and supporting clients as well, and doing all sorts of things from picking platforms, figuring out they need to migrate off of a platform to a different one, and making the best decision there as best as they can, and implementing the platforms, migrating, optimizing the whole shebang, and figuring out what other MarTech makes sense to have out because the marketing automation platform doesn't do something. So we're going to touch on that as well in this webinar. So lots of years in the marketing space, most of it, this is my niche. This is where I have my greatest expertise, is marketing automation. And when I thought about the content for this webinar a couple of years ago when it was first created, it was, well, wait, why would you buy a marketing automation platform? It's because of the automation features, hopefully, because they're expensive. They can be. You would, if you just need to send emails out, MailChimp, right? Something like MailChimp would be a fit for you, potentially. Constant Contact, very much cheaper and simpler, and can't do a quarter even of what these marketing automation platforms can do. But that's why we pick these categories. We have an other category that's kind of a catch-all, but I'm going to start with connection of the data and of integrating with other technologies. That is critical for a marketing automation platform to be successful, because none of these marketing automation platforms and the others out there that I'm not talking about today, because there's plenty of them, there's dozens, none of them can do everything. And I think there's a misconception that they can do your social, they can do your website management, they're a CMS system, they can do orchestration of campaigns, all channels. No, they can't. So I'll help you understand where they can play well and where they can't. And one of the first things is, how well can they connect with other platforms? How strong are their APIs to do that? How well can they ingest data or not? And then secondly, we'll talk about, once they have data in them, specifically contact data, person data, prospect lead data, customer data, student data, prospective student data, patient data, what have you, how well do they automatically manage the data? How long do they retain the activities that they're known for tracking? So we'll get into that. And then the custom objects, that is just another way to store data in these platforms. And I'll explain why and how, but they are definitely not all on the same page there. And then campaign management, I have broken up into basic campaign management and then multi-channel. So you can understand how well do they get you there towards multi-channel? And hopefully one day you get to omni-channel, where you're not just executing on multiple channels, but everything's tied together and coordinated, hence the term omni. It's difficult to do, and none of these platforms can do it all by themselves. So, and then scoring, automated scoring has been a thing for over a decade now. I remember when it first started, and I got away from being, sorting papers and figuring out how to score things. Oops, bear with me. My Zoom gave me a little note there. Okay, so we'll go into scoring, and then, like I said, the catch-all, that's things like analytics. Not to undermine them, but there's an important consideration there. You want to make sure these platforms are working, and having good reporting is critical in doing so and measuring. That's just one piece of the other category. So the history of these platforms and how they came about is an important part of the rest of the slides, and understanding why some of them have higher limits than others. So let's just dig right into it. And by the way, the format you see here with the tables of the platform side by side is the way the rest of the presentation will go. I'm trying to make it really easy to digest, which you'll obviously get this recording and be able to, take a look at things more closely as you wish. But the other thing I want to mention is they're not in any particular order at all. Literally just not even alphabetical. So the first thing is when they were founded. So Eloqua has a little bit of a leg up on the others in that it has been around longer. There have been more developers trying to develop it, more product managers trying to fix things and improve things and add things and remove things based on user feedback and demand. So, but if you take a look here, Marketo and HubSpot came out in 2006, and then Salesforce was right in between everybody and right after Eloqua in 2000. Now, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, just to clarify, it has various studios to it, and I'm going to show on the next slide like what those are for all these platforms. They're versions of like Salesforce Studios. When I'm talking about Salesforce Marketing Cloud, some of you may know Salesforce bought a company called ExactTarget in 2000, and that's when their marketing cloud really kicked off. And Oracle bought Eloqua. Salesforce bought ExactTarget in 2013, as you can see there, and that's when they started their marketing cloud. Now they've expanded, they've purchased other products, and that's been added on to Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So Salesforce Marketing Cloud, what we're specifically honing in on here is their email studio and their journey builder. And I'll touch on where their other studios also play a role in automation and where they don't. And Pardot, so Pardot now is an add-on to Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and they've renamed it Account Management. So this presentation I used to do didn't have Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and it had Pardot. Well, Salesforce pretty routinely, actually all of these in some way or another, they change the names of things, they change if it's included in their marketing cloud or not, and it can be hard to keep up with, but this is the latest. I'm going to present to you guys as of now where they stand and the names of their solutions or products. The parent company of Eloqua is Oracle. Marketo was bought by Adobe in 2018. I just mentioned Salesforce. Marketing Cloud really got started with the acquisition of ExactTarget in 2013. And then HubSpot is still its own private company and not acquired by anyone else. I believe they're not a public company. Anyway, but they have not been acquired. Fiscal year, and why I'm including that is because as a person purchasing something, typically later you wait into a business's end of their fiscal year, that last month of their fiscal year, that is when they are typically working really hard to close their books strong and have as many sales close as possible. So historically, since Oracle bought Eloqua, Oracle's fiscal year is June 1 to May 31st. So the month of May is when you can usually get the best discount on Eloqua and so forth. You can see the rest. Now, that doesn't mean you need to wait until November to purchase Marketo or January to get Salesforce Marketing Cloud. I'm not saying that. It's just something to bear in mind that the closer you get to their last quarter of their fiscal year, the better your negotiation power. There are other factors to consider if you're a longtime customer of one of these. There are other things you can do to negotiate a good deal. And all of them with their list pricing at the bottom that I'm showing you, list pricing, everybody discounts. And one day my hope is that they get away from having these inflated list prices that hopefully no one is paying them, and actually show more aggressive pricing right off the bat. And obviously they would have less room to discount, but you as the buyer would have a better understanding of, you should never pay $2,000 a month for Eloqua Basic for 10,000 contacts. That's what the little caveat there on the left is. So my tip here is to request a discount with all of these vendors, HubSpot included for their starter edition, which is like eeny weeny teeny weeny infant marketing automation. In my opinion, it doesn't have a lot of functionality to it, as you'll see. $396 a month is a lot. So the other thing I want to point out with the market focus is what were they built for? So who did they originally build these platforms for? Their target audience and customers that turned out to be buying the platforms. So Eloqua started out in the enterprise space. So I'm talking about the size organization, like number of employees or revenue. Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud were for bigger organizations. Eloqua was mainly doing well selling into B2B enterprise organizations. Dell, McAfee, NetApp, big technology companies were the first adopters of marketing automation on the B2B side. Then Salesforce Marketing Cloud, now remember, ExactTarget really got them going in 2013 with their marketing cloud. It was a B2C platform, marketing automation platform geared towards B2C companies, enterprise level, big companies. So Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud have overall, most of the things you'll see coming up, highest limits of things like APIs and users, etc. Because again, they were built for larger teams, bigger organizations, and they were harder to use, right? And now that's opinions, but if you have enough people having the same opinion, it starts to become a fact. But they both have done things over the years to address their difficulty in use. So Eloqua had a complete overhaul about 8 years ago. Salesforce hasn't had a complete overhaul, but they have tried to address their difficulty of use. So now Marketo and HubSpot, they were smart. So Marketo was really focused on competing with Eloqua, but with medium-sized organizations and some small, so SMB. HubSpot really focused in on B2B, smaller organizations, not even so much the medium, and not a ton of B2C. So 3 out of the 4 maps here were really focused on B2B marketing use cases, and with the exception of Salesforce Marketing Cloud was B2C. And then Salesforce bought Pardot, and then they checked the box where we can do B2B marketing automation as well with limited capacity with features. So the current market focus, though, if you look at these companies online, which you probably have, they all contend that they're a great fit for most sized organizations, and whether it's B2B or B2C. Now, there's a little bit of difference there. Like, so for example, Oracle does have a B2C marketing automation platform called Responses. So they do kind of coin Eloqua as their B2B marketing automation platform and Responses for B2C. If you do both types of marketing, typically Eloqua is best fit to handle it. Similarly, with Adobe and Marketo, Adobe has Campaign, which is their B2C marketing automation platform. They have Marketo for B2B. If you need to do both B2B and B2C marketing, Marketo is who they're going to go forward with most times. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, they used to have that differentiation between Marketing Cloud, like Email Studio, Journey Builder, and Pardot. Well, now Pardot's an add-on and more like coined for ABM efforts, so it's getting a little bit muddier. HubSpot, they don't have a B2C or a B2B differentiation. HubSpot's good for both, and it's debatable. All right, so let's keep moving. Now, because all of them have their different versions and their different names, so not all the same, Jumpstart, but it's Eloqua Basic, and it's Salesforce Marketing Cloud Basic, and so forth, I'm going to just use the terms small, medium, and large to try to keep this as apples to apples of a comparison as possible. And just a reminder, if you have to duck out early, I'm going to send you a copy of this recording, and feel free to enter any questions in the Q&A or follow up with me anytime. I'm always happy to do this conversation one-on-one with anybody, anytime really, except for the weekends. So this next thing is looking at, there's the concept of marketing clouds. And some people think, oh, I'm going to go all Oracle Marketing Cloud, or I'm going to go all Salesforce. Well, HubSpot, you can't. Look at that. They don't have a true marketing cloud. They don't have a solution covered for the main categories you see that marketing clouds cover. Now, Oracle, Adobe, and Salesforce have built those out, and you can see the names, the current names as of now, of their solutions in these different categories. these categories on the left, there's 9 now. I think when I first presented this, there were like 7, like it kind of keeps evolving as we go. But you can see that Oracle has the most boxes checked, the most comprehensive marketing cloud, just by checking the boxes of having a product there. Doesn't mean they're all super well integrated, but they're all hypothetically working towards that. Adobe is next. Adobe has only 2 solutions that they're lacking. They don't have the social media management platform that does mass listening, publishing, and analytics like a Hootsuite or an Octopost. Neither does Eloqua. Salesforce does, but they are retiring theirs November 2024. You can't buy it anymore. And if you have it, it will be gone, end of life, November 2024. So that's a bummer for Salesforce customers who actually find it useful. So what we're seeing more people do there is they get Octopost or Hootsuite or a similar social media platform. The other thing Adobe does not have is a loyalty management product yet. I suspect they will purchase something probably in the next year or 2 to be competitive with Oracle Marketing Cloud. Now, Salesforce, they did have a DMP called Salesforce DMP or Audience Studio. They're retiring it. Sorry, it has been retired last year and replaced by their CDP. There is a shift globally in the markets of DMPs, of those becoming CDPs, because it has to do with things with compliance and third-party cookies becoming a thing of the past. So ultimately, we're seeing people shift more towards CDP, customer data platform, versus a data management platform or a DMP. And then HubSpot, like I said, just to reiterate there, they really don't have a marketing cloud. They have Marketing Hub. They have a content management system hub, like it says there, for web only, not mobile. And then they do have a CRM. I'm not listing out CRMs because that's not really under marketing, but they do have a CRM. So let's get into the doo-doo here, people. So integrations, that's the first big category to compare. And integrations are done typically via apps for these on top of these platforms. Like think of it like putting an app on your iPhone to do something extra than it can do just by itself. And their APIs also fuel a lot of those apps, the connections with like Cven or SurveyMonkey, etc. So like examples of apps I've mentioned, there are a couple of them. Database integrations, if you have a homegrown CRM or a ERP system or e-commerce system or these other things I've listed out here, those are common examples of integrations. So the first thing is just how many apps, how many certified apps specifically, like certified by Oracle for Eloqua, Adobe for Marketo, Salesforce for Marketing Cloud, and HubSpot for their marketing hub. How many have they stamped and said, these are safe third-party apps to use with one of these 4 platforms? So it's 269 for Eloqua, and they have their cloud marketplace. It's like the App Store for the iPhone. And then for Marketo, there's 42 on the Adobe Exchange, 77 for Salesforce on App Exchange, and 167 for HubSpot Marketing and the app marketplace for the HubSpot products. So there are hundreds of apps for HubSpot, for example, but not for HubSpot Marketing. So you have to be careful when you look at these, because it's like, well, wait, I can go to the HubSpot marketplace and I can see like there's 500 plus apps there, but they're not all for the marketing hub. So that's my job, right, is to see through that and help you guys understand which of these is the most extendable and which is not. Now, Marketo is a little deceiving, I will say, because when Adobe bought Marketo in 2018, they've slowly gone through the apps that are available to use with Marketo. There are more than 42. There are vendors out there who have not gone through the process with Adobe to recertify their product to have it show up on the Adobe Exchange. So there used to be with Marketo, for instance, like over 400. So there are still 400, but they're not available on the Adobe App Exchange. So that doesn't mean you can't integrate Marketo with Demandbase, for example, but the Demandbase app, I believe, is not on the Adobe Exchange yet. And who knows if it will be, because just as an example, Oracle and Adobe, they put you through a rigorous process to get your app in their marketplace or their app exchange. And it's a good thing. It makes it safer for us as end users. So you can see Eloqua's leading the way there. They, I believe, came out with their marketplace first. Well, Salesforce technically had an app exchange for CRM years before Oracle did for their marketing cloud, but that's for their CRM. Okay, APIs. So first of all, there's typically two APIs people are leveraging, the REST API and the bulk API. Let's start with the REST API. That's typically used to build the apps that extend the platforms with other technologies like the ones listed out there. Now, and you can use it for data transfers. So if we look at the daily request limit for the REST API, you can see the only one that's really the one that stands out is Marketo. Only 50,000 come with Marketo. You can extend that with Marketo. I know if there's anybody from Adobe here, they're gonna be like, that's not true. You can do more than 50,000. Well, if you look at the pricing for Marketo, it says 50,000 comes with all different versions of Marketo. And it does say you can increase that. Now, if you increase it, these are soft limits for all the platforms. You can go beyond 500,000 a day using the REST API for Eloqua. What will happen, or beyond 50,000 for Marketo? What happens is it starts to not perform well. This is what they are built to go up to per day. So just keep that in mind. I've seen customers, for instance, with Marketo buy 100,000 max REST API calls, and they get them, but it starts to perform not so great. Bulk API. Now that's typically, kind of like it says, bulk amount of data that you're transferring back and forth. That's typically high volume data exchanges. Doesn't always have to be, but so the export, getting data out of the marketing automation platform to someplace else, like a CRM, a database, someplace else. Eloqua has no limit on their bulk export. And Marketo, it's 500 megabytes, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, 10 megabytes, and then HubSpot, 32. So Eloqua, when you actually do use these APIs, by the way, you feel the difference here. You can see Eloqua doesn't fail as much as Salesforce Marketing Cloud, with massive amount of data getting exported out via the bulk API. Same thing as HubSpot. It'll tend to fail more if you get beyond that 32 megabytes worth of data. Now, importing and ingesting data into the marketing automation platform via the bulk API. So HubSpot, this is interesting. So HubSpot still 32 megabytes, ties with Eloqua, and then Marketo and Salesforce are slow. More errors will happen if you go beyond 10 megabytes. Last thing here is SFTP, or some people call it a flat file integration, or import export of data, importing into the marketing automation platform and exporting out. So only Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud have this feature in them to schedule the imports and exports, with, instead of an API, the SFTP being the technology, the integration method to push the data back and forth. SFTP stands for Secure File Transfer Protocol. And think of it as like the middle place where Eloqua logs into that SFTP server, it finds the file, it loads the data into Eloqua to where you tell it to. Same thing with Salesforce Marketing Cloud. You can log into Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud and enter in the SFTP site, the username and password, sometimes some more things that are like a key, SSH key, I think it's called. Basically, it's a secure way to transfer data files without an API. So it's typically less involved to get it configured. It's a faster setup time frame. So, and you can do it with Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Marketo and HubSpot don't have the capability. So I'm going to keep moving along here. Native, and anytime you hear me say native, that means out of the box. It means it's an out of the box feature or functionality. So these are the out of the box CRMs that the 4 platforms integrate with. Eloqua does with Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, and Oracle Sales Cloud. Marketo does with almost all of them, Salesforce, CRM, or Sales Cloud, they call it, and Microsoft Dynamics. Salesforce, same thing as Marketo, and then HubSpot, just Salesforce, and then their own CRM. So let's say you have NetSuite CRM or SalesLoft, SalesLogic, something old school. It would be a custom integration, or a third-party app might already be built, for instance, to connect Eloqua with NetSuite or Marketo with NetSuite, etc. Which those do exist because these platforms have been around for so long, like 20 years or so. There's, for the more common CRMs that you don't see listed here, there typically isn't a company that has built something to connect, like Marketo with SAP, for example. That does exist. So you don't have to build it from scratch, which is the most costly typically and time consuming, no matter who builds it, you or a partner or whoever. So the next feature, does the marketing automation platform integrate with any CRM object with no custom coding like API coding or webhooks? Yes, with Eloqua. The way the Eloqua integration is engineered is to be able to see and access all of the objects in the CRM to write to and pull from. And that's usually where people are like, no, we don't want it to do all that. And you can limit it. Now with the other marketing automation platforms, it's intended to have it only have a certain amount of CRM objects that Marketo, Marketing Cloud, and HubSpot can integrate with. Like it's typically called the standard objects in the CRM, like leads, contacts, accounts, opportunities, campaigns. Just giving you general examples of standard objects in most CRMs. It's different in other CRMs, but so for example, if you want to have Marketo write to a custom object, that would be a custom API call. And similarly with the other two platforms, Marketing Cloud and HubSpot. The next feature, number 3, the marketing automation platform production environment, the live environment you're using day to day, integrates with more than one CRM environment. This comes in handy, like the example there, you have multiple CRM environments. Perhaps you have 2 very distinctly different sales teams, or you bought a company and they have their own CRM. You both have Salesforce, but can Eloqua integrate with both of those Salesforces? Yes. Salesforce can as well if you have their large version. Marketo and HubSpot cannot. So you either consolidate your CRMs or you get another Marketo instance or another HubSpot marketing instance environment. That's what I'm saying. This also comes in handy. Another use case is when you want to connect like Eloqua or Marketing Cloud first to your CRM test environment, configure it, test it, or test something new with it, and then sign off on it, and then go set it up in production. You can do that with Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud in the production environment with the CRM test environment. With Marketo and HubSpot, you'd have to have purchased a separate Marketo and HubSpot test environment and connect that to your CRM test environment, and then go set up everything in Marketo and HubSpot production and connect and test with CRM production. So Marketo, your live Marketo or production Marketo instance, same thing with HubSpot, cannot integrate with more than one CRM, only one CRM instance, like production typically. Okay, number 4 feature here. This is more of a proactive, nice to have feature, I will say. The marketing automation platform sends an email alert to whoever you want it to with their email address when an integration error occurs. So if something happens with the integration that goes wrong, you can have Eloqua send you automatically an email and let you know, like, hey, there was an error, or there were 30 errors last night with the integration of Eloqua creating leads and Dynamics. You would get emailed and notified, like as an Eloqua admin. The other platforms don't have that feature. So what that means is with Marketo, Salesforce, Marketing Cloud, and HubSpot, you have to log in daily and proactively yourself, or reactively in that sense. You have to log in and monitor the integration. It's not going to tell you there's something wrong until it's too late. Sometimes in sales or somebody on the CRM side sees an issue, or a marketer building a campaign and they see there's a lack of data missing in the marketing automation platform. Now, the last feature here is the marketing automation platform allows for intentional duplicate leads. The integration allows for it with the CRM having intentional duplicate leads and not having to have a custom solution, app, or coding to write to and pull from properly the intentional duplicate leads in the CRM system. The only 2 that can handle intentional dupes in the CRM are Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud. With Marketo and HubSpot, you either have to use a third-party solution and pay like annually or quarterly for it, or write your own custom webhooks or API calls to account for the functionality that's missing out of the box or natively. That's a hairy one. Why would you even have intentional dupes in your CRM? It's common when you have different sales teams sharing one CRM environment and they don't need to see, you don't want them to see each other's leads, opportunities, accounts. You put up walls typically, and then you have intentional duplicate leads that happen. It's usually, like it says, they're intentional. And sometimes it's for tracking purposes too. Tracking, reporting on leads. So the next category here, I'm going to move a little faster. You can hear me talk a little faster. My New York's going to come out on me for time's sake, but data management and retention, this is huge. This is like one of the main reasons that people, I think, get marketing automation platforms, is knowing they can automatically do some cool stuff with data. They do have some limits, but let's go through it. So first of all, the maximum number of database fields in Eloqua, the heart of the Eloqua database are the contacts, and you've got 250 contact fields max. Marketo's persons are the heart of their database. You get as many person fields as you want. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, like Eloqua, their heart of their database are contacts. Same as Eloqua, 250 fields limited. And HubSpot, they also have contacts as their heart of their database, and you get 1,000 contact fields. Now, data retention policy for, and like it says here, storing activities tracked by these platforms. Those are things like it says there, like that an email was sent to someone, opened, clicked through, a website visit, a web page or a landing page built on one of these platforms, somebody visiting that, form submissions, the integration failures and successes between like these platforms and the CRM as an example. Also SMS, if they do out of the box SMS, then tracking that it was sent and if there was a response, opt in or opt out, things like that. So Eloqua tracks all of those types of activities 25 months, no exceptions. Marketo, almost everything 25 months, except for what they coin high volume activities. It costs a lot of money to store high volume activities, like it says their website visits, lead score changes, email sends, emails being delivered. Those are things that those activities start to add up in these platforms, especially if you have millions of persons in Marketo. You're tracking literally millions, maybe even billions of activities. Well, Adobe, not long after they bought Marketo, they made this rule change where Marketo used to be the same as Eloqua, and Adobe said, whoa, let's change this. So now with Marketo, those high volume activities are kept in Marketo for 90 days, and then they are gone. They get automatically removed. So if you have a website visit that Marketo tracked against my Marketo person record, and it's now the 91st day since I did that website visit, it won't be in Marketo anymore. You won't be able to access it. There's some workarounds. You can store some of those high volume activities in Marketo custom objects, but as you're going to see, those have a pretty low limit to them. So it's not a really scalable solution. But so Salesforce Marketing Cloud and HubSpot, they're equal 6 months. They will keep those activities. So just keep that in mind. That's a huge difference. 25 months, 6 months. It's not usually a deal breaker, but it's more of a pain for the marketing automation platform user if you can't go past 6 months to leverage activities in your building of a segment, scoring, even personalization rules like dynamic content rules and such. So let's keep moving. Database partitions, the ability to partition the contact records in Eloqua, persons in Marketo, et cetera. And you would typically do that if you have different marketing teams using and sharing, say, one Eloqua instance, and you want to put walls up so they can't all see each other's contacts. Same thing with the other platforms. So this feature is available with Eloqua's medium and large version, same thing with Marketo. With Salesforce Marketing Cloud and HubSpot, only the large versions have that capability. So anytime you see me say only like large version, it doesn't come with small and medium, you can pay more to add it on to the smaller medium version, but just keep that in mind. Now it's an additional cost. Native or out of the box data management tools. So this means there's no app required or coding needed or AMP scripts or SQL coding. Eloqua with their medium and large versions, you have data tools that do the actions that I've listed out here. So if you just glance across the table here, Eloqua has the most data management tools out of the box. Marketo can do flow actions. That's very similar to Eloqua's update rules. Basically, I'll give you an example. If you want to standardize your country field, you have all these different data sources feeding data into your marketing automation platform, and not all of them are using the same pick list for country, where it's the word spelled out United States, Canada, United Kingdom, et cetera, et cetera. Some of them come in US, USA, United States of America. We just want United States to be the clean value or standardized value. So Eloqua and Marketo, all the platforms can do this. It's just different terminology. Like in HubSpot, it's called automations. But what you can see here is with Eloqua, there's more to it. So, and this goes back to the history. Eloqua was built for companies that really push the limits of what the platform can do by adding even features to it, higher limits of APIs and such. So years ago, users said, it's taking me too long to build out those rules for all the different variations just of the United States. And now I got to move on to United Kingdom. And can I just upload a file where I just say, here's the clean values, here's the dirty values. And Eloqua created that. They made it easier, faster for people to build out their data management rules inside of the platform. The other platforms haven't done that yet. They've gone more of an approach of, well, don't do it out of the box with Marketo, just pay for another app to add on to it to do it. Same thing with Marketing Cloud and HubSpot. So they have not invested as much as Eloqua has and Oracle with Eloqua in the data management tools. Now I'll say this, like, this is before Oracle bought Eloqua, that those features were there. Field change history tracking. So that's, for example, if you pick your title field, job title field, and say, I want to know whenever there's a change to this field, so I can trigger something to happen. Or I want to know whenever a customer status goes from current to pissed off or no longer a customer. Something changes, one of the values changed on a field. So Eloqua has this feature. They added it a few years ago, hasn't been there forever. And you can track up to 10 contact fields, and it will track the history of the changes in that field forever. Marketo, they added this feature like right after Eloqua. You can do it for any number of person fields you want, but it will only keep the data for those field changes for 90 days, like the job title. Once it hits 90 days, it wipes it out. So then Salesforce Marketing Cloud and HubSpot don't have it. One note though is Salesforce Marketing Cloud, when you have Salesforce CRM, they obviously usually would be integrated, and you can depend on and leverage in Marketing Cloud the CRM's field change history tracking, which Salesforce CRM has. Most CRMs have it. HubSpot CRM does not though. Custom objects. So this is where you want to store more data in the marketing automation platform. And it's typically for a one-to-many scenario where like you've got one KP and I fill out multiple surveys throughout the year for you. I fill out 5. You typically don't want my last survey submission to overwrite my prior one. You want to see all 5 of them separately so you can leverage them for segmentation, for dynamic content like personalization, scoring, etc. So I gave you some examples there of you want to tie multiple records to one person, not overwrite data, purchase information, event attendance, registrations, etc., etc. So let's go through it. The first feature is, can you create and actually manage building custom objects in the marketing automation platform? Yes, with Eloqua and Marketo, no matter what version you get, you can do this. With Salesforce Marketing Cloud, all versions, they call it data extensions. So just to clarify there, in the Salesforce Marketing Cloud world, it's not custom objects, they call them data extensions, and it comes with all versions. With HubSpot, the only way you can create a custom object in HubSpot is using the API. And also, that custom object must be tied to a HubSpot standard object like the contact. That part doesn't worry me. The whole piece of you have to use the API to build a custom object, I do think they will probably change that hopefully in the next few years, because not everybody has API expertise or wants to pay for it. Now let's keep going. Maximum custom objects in the marketing automation platform. This is a hard limit in your contract with the vendor. If you go over it, they will have the ability, they can charge you more if they want to, or at renewal, ask you to pay more. So the custom object is, like, you might call it event registrants for 2022. And now all of those records get put in there. So with Eloqua, you get 3 custom objects. You could have a survey responses object, event registrations, and then a separate one for event attendance if you really want to have a separate one. With Eloqua's medium and large versions, you can have as many custom objects as you want. That's unique, as you can see with the other platforms. So Marketo, you get 0 with their most basic version, their small version, but then you get 10 with their medium or large version. They've changed this a lot over the years. It used to be like 2, 5, and 10, 5, 5, and 5, but now as of today, it's 0, 10, and 10. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, they don't do it by the number of custom objects because their data extensions just function a bit differently. They do it by megabytes. So you can see there 1 megabyte, 50 megabytes, 100 megabytes, and 1 megabyte is not a lot of data. But anyway, HubSpot, you only get custom objects with their large version, as you can see there. Again, you can add custom objects to the HubSpot small version. It'll be an additional cost. Now, the next thing, number 3, the maximum number of records you can have across all your custom objects. Eloqua, 25 million. In any version of Eloqua. Marketo, well, the small version doesn't come with custom objects, so it's 0. The medium version, large version, it's 2 million, both of them. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it's 30 million records with the large version. And then it really, for the small and medium, ties to the megabytes. HubSpot, again, custom objects don't come with a small and medium version, but with large, you get 10 of them, and you can have up to 500,000 records in those up to 10 custom objects. I mean, you could have 1 custom object in HubSpot, and that's all you ever need, and you can have up to 500,000 records in it. So just glancing, again, this goes back to the history. Eloqua has been around the longest and was used by pushy people who needed to do a lot of different things and had a lot of data early on. The first 5 years the platform existed. So the 25 million, just knowing that helps you frame like, well, why does Eloqua have close to Salesforce's 30 million max records? These platforms were the first ones out there and used by big organizations with a lot of data. So the next feature, number 4, the custom object records within the map. What can you do to them in the marketing automation platform? So in Eloqua, you can view the records and the custom object. You can edit, create new, delete for testing and things like that. You can do it right inside of Eloqua. You can also do those activities via file upload or via the API. And then Marketo is close to Eloqua's. It's almost identical, but Marketo, when you're in there looking at custom objects, you can only view them. If you want to create, edit, or delete, you have to do it via file upload or API. Salesforce Marketing Cloud is almost the same as Eloqua. You can view them in Marketing Cloud, the data extensions, create, edit, delete right in there. And you can do that via API, but not file upload. And then HubSpot is similar, more like Marketo. You can view in HubSpot the custom object. If you want to create, edit, delete, you have to do it via the API, no file upload. So those things are like, well, that's pretty nitty gritty, KP, but it is. But when you're in this platform or that platform, whatever one, and you find out, crap, we got to use the API to make any edits or delete our test records in the HubSpot custom object we just have been playing around with. That's good to know, because now you need some API expertise with HubSpot if you're going to use these parts of the platform. Last thing here is using the custom object data for personalization is usually the #1 reason why we get the custom objects built and have data flowing into them. All of these platforms can use the data for personalization once it's in a custom object or a data extension in Marketing Cloud. And similarly, they can for things like scoring, building a segment, not just making the rules to personalize like an email header changing out or a web page header changing out based on custom object data. So, all right, campaign management. We've got less than 20 minutes left and we're more than halfway through, so we're okay. So campaign management, let's start with the basics, then we'll go to a multi-channel. So first of all, does the marketing automation platform have a drag and drop campaign builder? Eloqua does with all versions. Marketo does with all versions, but it only can have one workflow, so it's limited, but at least it's there. Salesforce Marketing Cloud does with its large version, and then HubSpot does not. So it's very linear. It's not drag and drop. That comes back to the ease of use or lack thereof. But now, not to say that HubSpot's hard to use, so I'll just back away from that because ease of use, difficulty of use is subjective. So the next thing, the ability to start a campaign, stop it, make a revision or edit something to it, and then restart it. Eloqua and Marketo, you can do it with all versions, no stipulations. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, almost the same thing, except for if you stop it, you better make your change within 2 weeks or 14 days, and then you can't restart it. So it's a bummer, but at least you can stop it. And most people do make the change most times within 14 days, but HubSpot, not a capability. Now, number 3, the ability to clone a campaign and all the assets in it, like if it had 5 emails and 5 landing pages and 5 forms. This is not available in Eloqua or Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Marketo, HubSpot it is. It would copy in Marketo all the logic of the campaign, or in their terminology, smart campaigns in the program, and all of those assets I just mentioned, everything would be copied. Now, the key thing is, and same thing with HubSpot, the key here is you got to remember that you did that and go edit all those copied emails and landing pages and forms. With Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it literally is just copying the flow, and it's keeping the prior email selected that you copied that campaign from. Email A/B testing, all of them can do this with Eloqua, Marketo, Marketing Cloud. Email A/B testing is included in all versions. With HubSpot, it's included with their medium and large versions. You can add it on to small. Email send time optimization. So Salesforce Marketing Cloud is the only one that includes this, but in only their large version. It's not a feature in HubSpot. It is for Eloqua a paid add-on called their AI add-on or advanced intelligence, With Marketo, it's not a paid add-on. You actually have to use a third-party solution to do email send time optimization. So yeah, we're wondering when HubSpot's going to add the feature. Send time optimization, if you don't know what it is, it looks at my history when you're scheduling a campaign. It doesn't send everybody that newsletter at the same time today at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It looks at everybody that it's supposed to go to and looks at their history of when they best open or click through or respond to emails. Typically it's click through just nowadays. And that's when it decides, okay, KP, send it to her at noon Pacific. Kristen, send it to her at 12 p.m. Central. Like, it knows when to send it based on the history. It's artificial intelligence kind of at its best, hypothetically, so you can improve your open, click through, etc. email conversions. Email subject line optimization. This is also the same paid AI add-on for Eloqua. It's a little bit of a mouthful. This does not exist with Marketo. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, again, it comes with their large version, and HubSpot, it does not exist. It's not a feature. A marketing calendar view, like a 30-day, 30 boxes, a calendar view itself. Eloqua does not have it. It would be a paid third party that you would leverage their calendar view and ideally connect it to Eloqua. Eloqua has a linear view. It's just row by row, not a calendar. Marketo, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and HubSpot all do have a calendar view. They're not all super editable, but at least you have that view of your scheduled campaigns, your completed campaigns. Campaign management multi-channel. So this is where people have a lot of misconceptions about marketing automation platforms. So first thing, all of them can send emails out. Great. That's awesome. We've known this for years. This is where they all started and play best. Forms, being able to build a form in the marketing automation platform, whether you want to put it on your website or on a Marketo landing page, all of them can do this. The only exception here is Salesforce Marketing Cloud. It doesn't come with their small version, but it does with their medium large. You can add it onto their small version. Mobile. So mobile includes a couple of different things: SMS, text messaging, voice messaging, like automated voice messages, in-app notifications, push notifications. So just keep that in mind. There's like at least 4 categories in the mobile marketing world. Eloqua out of the box has SMS. It's a paid add-on. And before that existed, or you still can choose to do a third party, like a Twilio app to do text messaging, have Eloqua trigger Twilio to send out a text message. Or now, as of this year, Eloqua added the ability to use their own out-of-the-box native SMS, but it is an additional cost. Marketo is the same as Eloqua, except for their paid texting add-on is called Vibes, V-I-B-E-S. Or you can still use the third party if you want. You don't have to use that. Like if you want to do automated voice messages with Eloqua or Marketo, you can't. You have to use a third-party app. Salesforce Marketing Cloud has their mobile studio add-on that does each of those tasks, mobile tasks. And then HubSpot doesn't do anything out of the box. There's no capability or add-on. With HubSpot, you do have to use a third party to do any type of mobile messaging. Direct mail. Now, all of them are on the same page here. None of them do out of the box direct mail. And direct mail can be an actual like print piece. Looking around, I don't have any. Or like sending gifts, like in a campaign, triggering donuts to be sent to someone, or some kind of a gift card. All of them rely on third-party apps integrated with the marketing automation platforms. Website chat. So Eloqua doesn't have the feature. Salesforce Marketing Cloud doesn't have the feature. You have to use a third-party app on top of them. Like for instance, Drift. You can integrate Drift with Eloqua and send Drift captured information to Eloqua and vice versa, so they can work together. Marketo has a chat tool that was added, gosh, I think this was in the last year, or maybe the last 2 years. It's called Dynamic Chat. I think it was just last year. And then it's a paid add-on. And then HubSpot, they have their conversations add-on that you can use. Social integration, you'll see here, I'm not saying social features. So like it says there, that caveat, none of the marketing automation platforms really have a social marketing management or media management platform. Now, Salesforce has had one called Social Studio, but it's being retired, like I mentioned earlier, November 2024. So you can't buy it anymore. Existing customers can continue to use it though. But they do all have some level of integration with like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Not all of them do with Instagram or Pinterest. Most of them don't. But you can see the social features that Eloqua has come with all versions. Same thing with Marketo, with HubSpot, with their medium and large version, not their small. And then with Salesforce Marketing Cloud, you'll probably see something similar. They'll have some social features still natively, but not mass social listening and publishing and social analytics, how well your Facebook is performing compared to LinkedIn and Instagram and Pinterest all on one interface. Those are social platforms like Octopus or Hootsuite. Scoring, we're almost done here. So multiple scoring engines live at the same time. You can see the numbers there. With Eloqua, small version, only one. With their medium, you get up to 15 live at the same time. And with their large version, you get 30. And Eloqua's large version comes with 20 instances of Eloqua. It's 30 in each one of those instances, so 600. Marketo, there's no limit on any version. You can have as many smart campaigns doing scoring as you'd like. With Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it's similar, but just with their small version, they don't include scoring. Now remember, Salesforce is kind of coupling Pardot now as an add-on to Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So Pardot is what's used for scoring out of the box on top of Marketing Cloud. Or you can get a third-party app that does scoring and push that data to Salesforce Marketing Cloud. HubSpot, their small version doesn't include scoring. Their medium does with 5 engines live at the same time or workflows. And then their large up to 25. Now, the next thing, the ability for the automation platform to automatically degrade somebody's score. If they were a hot lead and now they're not, you don't want to have to go in and change that. You want it to automatically see that and decrease my score. So Eloqua does this no matter what version you get. With Marketo, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, with the Pardot add-on or account engagement. And then with HubSpot, you have to build it into your workflow or your smart campaign to do that degradation of the scores to take points away. Multiple scores. So if you have 3 scoring models live right now on any of these platforms, Eloqua is the only one that can show those 3 scores in the sales tool, Eloqua Profiler. In Marketo's sales tools, it's not, only one will show. Same thing with the other 2. Account scoring. So Eloqua account fields can be used to do some account level scoring. They also have a couple paid additional cost options, like the AI add-on for Eloqua does some account scoring just of engagement data, not static information like industry or revenue or things like that. There's also Oracle Data Fox, which it itself has its own scoring functionality to score accounts, both off static information and like activities of a company, like bankruptcy or bought a company, great stock results or earnings. Marketo, you can, like Eloqua, use the Marketo account fields to do scoring, or a third-party app. A very common third-party app people use, there's a couple of them out there, like Demandbase is one of them, 6 Sense to do account scoring. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, what they're typically going to recommend for you now is to purchase the Pardot account engagement add-on and do Pardot's account scoring. Or again, you could use like something such as Demandbase to do account scoring and push it into Marketing Cloud. HubSpot, this does come with their medium and large versions, so pretty straightforward there. Predictive scoring, Eloqua, Marketo can't do it out of the box. You have to use a third party, again, like Demandbase. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Well, 6 Sense. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, this is included, their Einstein scoring with medium and large version, and HubSpot, their AI scoring with a large version for predictive scoring. Now the other category, let me see, there's a question. Oh, glad to hear that this is helpful. Sometimes people, I think there's too much information, but hopefully you get some benefit from the level of detail. Last thing here, this is where I've seen people get the most pissed off after they pick a platform and the salesperson didn't give them the information. They also didn't know to ask. So here you go. Number of marketing users. The first 2 things, let's just talk about the medium version. Let's keep it apples to apples. Eloqua's medium version comes with 50 users. You can see the rest. 25 Marketo, Salesforce 15, and HubSpot 5. Number of reporting users, they don't have to be marketing users of the platform. Like they may not even log into Eloqua or Marketo, etc. They might just get reports sent to them, and they might want to just manipulate reports. Eloqua's medium version comes with 50. It's actually identical, you can see. So Eloqua's packing more users in, but you don't always need 50, right? So just keep that in mind. But it's important to know this. What I have seen is, particularly with the other platforms, somebody got like the medium version of Marketo and they needed 50 marketing users or more. And they found out after the fact they needed to now go ask for budget to pay Adobe more to get 25 more Marketo users, which is not ideal. And then you got to wait for the paperwork and all that fun stuff and then get access. The next thing has to do with reporting. This is critical. It could be its own category, but Eloqua comes with a BI tool called Insight. Marketo, it comes with every version of Eloqua. Marketo comes with a paid BI tool called Visible, which they've renamed to Marketo Measure. It also does marketing attribution analytics. That's what it's well known for. Now that's a paid add-on for Marketo, just reiterating that. There's no Marketo BI reporting tool that comes with Marketo. It comes with out-of-the-box reports and dashboards that you can manipulate, but not to the extent of a BI tool. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it's similar to Marketo, where there's out-of-the-box reports and dashboards on all these platforms, but there's no BI tool that comes with Salesforce Marketing Cloud. However, you can purchase their Datorama, or now they've called it Marketing Intelligence add-on, for the small version of Salesforce Marketing Cloud. It's included, which is awesome, with the medium and large versions. It's also a marketing attribution capabilities to it, or analytics as well, like Visible or Marketo Measure. AI. So Eloqua, there's no version of Eloqua that has any AI. You got to pay for the add-on. It's got a bunch of features in it, like 4 categories of features. Marketo Sensei is their category of, they call it their AI features. They come, some of them with their medium and large versions, which is cool. You can add it on to small. Salesforce, they call it cute name Einstein. It comes with the medium and large versions. HubSpot doesn't have really AI for HubSpot marketing. They do for their CRM a little tiny bit. And the last thing is the marketing automation platform has a sandbox or a test environment included and can connect to the marketing automation production environment. Eloqua and Marketo and Salesforce, so they all have it, but you have to get their most expensive version to get that, or buy it separately as an add-on with the small and medium versions. All right, so we're basically out of time. I just want to give you one more tip. While we're talking about all these product features, they're important, they're critical in an RFP or an evaluation. They ultimately are what you use to solve your challenges and achieve your goals. But if you don't set them up properly or train your team, processes around things like naming conventions and where to store things and how we build the campaign and how we make sure we build it right so attribution is possible, well, you got to implement properly. So my recommendation is shop for the best platform and team to help you implement it. Doesn't have to be our team at Sojourn. We'd love it, but we're not always the best fit. So here's some questions to ask when you are evaluating whether it's Oracle Consulting or Sojourn or Accenture or Deloitte, whoever. I'm not going to read them out loud. We don't have time, but definitely dig into their expertise, because not everybody has the expertise that's on their website. They'll say, oh yeah, we do Marketo implementations. And you ask them like, yeah, we've done 2 over 12 years. That's not great. You don't want that. You want somebody who's done dozens of implementations. And then I would just be wary of any of these platforms getting a quote to implement them for less than $10,000, even HubSpot. You're likely going to be doing most of the setup yourself, which might be okay with you. So the next time I'll be doing this is in October. I'll send you out if you want, well, it's on our website, but I will send you the recording from today. Feel free to follow up with me if you have any questions. I appreciate you guys being here. I think I had a goof up with the confirmation email with the link to this Zoom. I think it was an old Zoom, so I think that's why there's not later than 30 people registered. Anyway, TMI. All right, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Hope you have a nice weekend and don't melt. Thanks, everybody. Take care. I can find the stop button.